What's up, Trader's Edge? It's Mark Sebastian, your only option. Today, I'm going to break down what's going on with the SPX and the VIX, and I'm going to talk about why you need to be paying attention to TLT right now and how it is directing what direction the market is going to go. So with that, let's dig in. All right, traders. So on Friday, the S&P had, quote unquote, an inside day. Now you're saying, Mark, the S&P was up 95 points. That's inside? Yes. When the VIX is 40, that is an inside day. A VIX of 37 is predicting more than 2% of movement every single day, about 2.5%. This is 1.8, so a lot less. So we had the S&P and the Qs kind of moving in lockstep. Some strength out of Apple, AMD, some of the chip names, Broadcom. Your Mag 7s, JP Morgan reported earnings Friday morning, and they were great. That lifted markets. Across the board, most stocks were up. The only area where things were continuing to be weak was the Russell 2000. IWM was up 1.46%. Sounds good, except I really want to see this ETF lead, not, so I'll feel better about this market when we're up and the Russell 2000, the IWM, is actually up the most out of these ETFs, not the least. So that's just something to have on the back of your head. So SPX, inside a nice week, up 5.7%. Seems to have found a floor from, the lows on Tuesday. We've rallied a nice, 500 points, call it almost 10%. Still, nicely up from where we closed Friday, but we've not really made up all of the sell. In order to kind of be out of this, you're looking at April 2nd when the market was still 5,500. So before I think we hit any real resistance, right around the 21-day moving average is about where I'd be looking. Right around 55.25. That's going to be in between 55.25, 55.50. You're going to run into some resistance there. Okay. VIX. Now, despite the nice rally, VIX is still really firm and is by no means giving us any all clear. The term structure, VIX futures were down, but we are still very backward, meaning VIX is above April, is above May, is above June. So we're looking for IWM to lead, and we want to see this flatten up. Now, what is going to cause that? The answer is the bond market. So I want to tell you about, I mentioned this on Wednesday. We had a major scare overnight on Wednesday in the bond market. We got kind of a follow-up scare that led to a real sell-off in longer-dated bonds. At one point, we were looking at we were below year lows at one point, and, going out a couple of years, we're not that far off of the 2-year low from October 2023. Those break, we're going to have a real problem. Now, what's been happening, it has to do with this Fed basis carry trade. This Fed basis carry trade that is going on, well, everyone say hi to Henry Schwartz, has this Fed carry trade, and that's been kind of blowing up overnight and been spooking out the market. What we need to do is see TLT stabilize, actually rally, and then we can talk about, so TLT no longer selling off. IWM leading the market, VIX curve flattening. Those are our three livers that we're watching to see if we can bottom out. But in the meantime, as TLT goes, so goes the market. The market was down this morning. TLT rallies off the bottom. Market rallies. That's your formula. So look at TLT. If that's up, market's going to go higher. If it starts to fade, market's going to soften. That is your kind of day-by-day directional indicator. For kind of the overall macro, we're looking at VIX, we're looking at IWM, and of course we're TLT needs to see successive winning days. All right, folks, so there is your plan. Speaking of plans, you can join me every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to break down what's happening in the markets, why we're moving the way we're moving, the way I see the day progressing, and how I'm approaching trading right now. I'm going to be with you every day so that you're not alone as we are trading through this highly volatile market period with crazy high option prices. So while we're doing that, you can join this calendar link here and join me every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time during the week. And if you're watching me on YouTube, like, subscribe, ask a question. All right, I am Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Have a great weekend.